Hello, everyone. This is an answer to Clamshell686 question. Asked a couple of weeks ago, actually, but I'm a little under the weather. I'm drinking my green tea, jasmine green tea, this time with a little peppermint, thanks to my neighbor next door, Greg. And just hoping I can get through this little video. And I want to make a couple of videos on a couple topics tonight since I'm already on a roll. Um, so, does it provide a good example or set a good example of karate? That is a very loaded question, right? I mean, I enjoy Cobra Kai. There are several students at the kickboxing gym that were inspired by watching Cobra Kai to take up martial arts training at Zinni's gym, where I help assist. And it can be inspiring. It's, for those of us that watch the original Karate Kid and some of the follow up movies, we find it extremely entertaining and there's a nostalgia factor. So those are positives for me. Um, Karate doesn't necessarily look like Cobra Kai represents it uh, in the majority. Okay, for example, in Cobra Kai, you have the tournament footage, and it seems like nobody's wearing any protective gear, any plastic hand pads or foot pads, and that's just not a thing these days, right? Very few bare knuckle tournaments exist. They tend to be like continuous hard contact, but no face contact, like Kyokushinkai. Uh, if you're doing traditional JKA Shotokan or Olympic karate, sometimes they have light canvas pads on the hands or none. But in general, there's lots of hand and foot gear. There's people wear cups, mouthpieces, even headgear, and that's for safety. Um, However, it does denigrate the control a little bit. There's also a financial thing. If you're a school that requires sparring gear, extensive sparring gear, to include chest protectors, shin guards, or if not mandates it, encourages it, um, you can sell it from your pro shop and make money, and that's an income stream, right? So neither Cobra Kai or Eagle Fang, and Miyagi-Do as represented in the series, is doing that. You would think Cobra Kai would, in terms of he tried to make it a big, commercially successful financial establishment, but he does have that old school mentality. I trained in the '80s. We did a lot of no gear sparring. I've competed in bare knuckle tournaments, point tournaments. I've observed Dominic Jacoby in Atlantic City used to put on light contact continuous sparring tournaments, and it was bare knuckle, and it could get brutal sometimes. But again, you weren't allowed to hit the face with your hands. So, in that sense, it's more like a nostalgic look at karate as opposed to what generally happens today. Does it provide a good example? Is this, both Danny LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence as senseis, they have serious flaws and they make mistakes, and it's kind of oversimplified. Um, I think what people don't understand is if you teach martial arts professionally, as I have in several different martial arts, um, it actually is a job. There's a lot of considerations. I mean, there's things that you might think are great. I'll give you an example. Goju Daute Karate Do, which was a style of karate that Jeff Mack developed, and I had a lot of input into it as an assistant there. And, we're talking starting around 1985. At one point, we had a grappling component, more of a stand-up grappling component. We had takedowns, sweeps, and he even at the beginning he used to borrow like a wrestling mat, and we would have sparring on it, and he'd be like, "You can incorporate throws," and I was really good at throws. I was one of the bigger, like heavier kids in the class. I had a lower center of gravity. I've always been kind of built like a wrestler, And I just started taking all the kids down, and nobody liked it. And kids would quit. And he's like, "We're not doing that anymore." So there's an aspect of karate style I trained in that had a lot of throws, had a lot of sweeps, takedowns, and little by little, it just all became phased out, illegal, or discouraged, right? Because you got to make a living. If people quit your school, you can't pay the bills. If you can't pay the bills, you close your business, you wind up in debt. Um, you also have to worry about lawsuits and things like that. I've seen several schools throughout my lifetime that closed because of lawsuits, because someone got injured. There was an Aikikai school in Hamilton, New Jersey, if I recall, and apparently someone did a Irimi Nage type of throw and injured someone's spine on landing. My throat's drying out. Okay, so I, but in a sense, that here's the interesting part. I have yet to meet a person without flaws. Okay, I have met people that have a strong sense of ethics, a code, but they don't always live by it. They don't always, they slip up. We all do. Which means I've never met a martial artist that was perfect, that didn't slip up, or that didn't have a dark side, right? Which means I've never met a sensei, a sifu, a guru, a guru, a coach that didn't have a flaw. I'm talking not just physically, but ethically, morally, that type of thing. And so the bad examples of Cobra Kai are also good examples of what the world of martial arts looks like. In the real world, although things are exaggerated, right? I think the All Valley Karate Tournament, as it's represented, just wouldn't happen today. You just can't see a point karate tournament in California that's teenage and under, 18 and under. I can't see that happening anymore. And I can't see it being bare knuckle, right? And some of the points that are scored, they're like excessively hard contact. Uh, I don't think you'd be allowed to get away with it today. But Cobra Kai, in a sense, is a good example because it's entertaining, it's engaging. Many of the martial artists are well trained. Actually, the least trained martial artists on it are, William Zabka and Ralph Macchio, right? Uh, Ralph Macchio didn't do much with karate all these years. He's gotten back into training. He's doing some things. He obviously is not doing a lot of side kicks and things like that. William Zabka, I think he got a green belt in Tang Sudo. He's resumed training, and he's a little more athletic, a little more flexible. But actually, a lot of the people playing the students in the show are black belts or far better trained than they are, and you can pick it up if you look. But we've had this thing since 1993 with the UFC where people sort of denigrated many traditional arts or semi-traditional arts, and they're like, no, that stuff doesn't work. Which I mean, it sure as heck can. It has. And with MMA and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu sort of and Muay Thai stepping to the forefront of public consciousness, I felt like arts like karate and kung fu and Arnis got short shrift. So this has sort of brought them back up to the front. It's created a new audience, and as we come out of the pandemic and lockdowns and all this other stuff, people are wanting to get engaged, and this is an opportunity for martial artists to sort of have a resurgence, or use a church term, a revival. So yeah, it's complicated, just like real life. The bad examples are good examples of what happens in life when good examples can have bad examples. Does that make any sense? All right. Y'all have a good day.